So in other words, it doesn't have the ability to dictate to the people what it needs to do. Okay? This is where all of it lies. This is here, some paperwork here out of the district court, and as well as the county recorder's office here in Bonneville. I didn't have the opportunity to get down here to the Bannock County one, otherwise I'd show you the same thing, but it's our information that we've received through all the other counties. This is pretty much the way it is in all 44 counties. So we have an instrument here on the far left that the recorder, the clerk of the county, okay, records your documents. So this would be used like on your title-based things of this nature. But also notice that the state of Idaho is in all caps. County of Bonneville is in all caps. Okay, so in other words, that's full corporate capacity working. Okay, now when you look to the right, you have a little bit of a different situation. You have the state of Idaho in all caps, full corporation, versus the municipal county of Bonneville in upper and lower case. Now what does that really mean? Does it really mean anything, or is it just what it is? This is what it means. When you work and you go ahead and you put in your stuff and you go to court and they bring your name in and your all cap name, and he goes ahead and he signs those documents with this instrument stating that this is the instrument that you handed in, this is what takes place. The county of Bonneville that's working in corporate as well as constitutional can only go into the court system on the corporate jurisdiction of the state of Idaho because of the all caps. Okay, so what it needs is, it needs to be state of Idaho, county of Bonneville. Just something that simple. Look at that. State of Idaho. Okay? It's not a big thing that we're trying to get across to people. Some of this stuff is so simple to get us back to where we need to be that it's amazing that it hasn't been already worked. But the reason why it hasn't been already worked is, again, all that corporate revenue that we think we need, which we don't need, just goes into these slush funds, and that's where it all lies. Okay? Now this is what took place. September 27th, we went ahead and read, and in the Post Register, we ran an ad, and when I say we, the citizens of Idaho ran an ad, bringing all this information to the general public under a legal notice and to the court systems under judicial notice. In other words, saying, you know, we're tired of you guys not representing us the way we have voted for you, or the way we might not have voted for you. But we're tired of you not doing the things that you need to do according to the Constitution as well as the state of Idaho. And so this gave them a heads up saying that we're not going to allow the discrimination principles of religion and all these other factors to continue. And so that way we have a legal basis giving the courts a heads up saying, you know, we're here to try to help you fix it. We're not here to try to cause chaos. We're here to, you know, fix the circumstances so we can all go back to a constitutional republic. And of those who want to stay in, the other side of the democracy can do that as well. But it should be their individual choice. We also did this with the Idaho Statesman. And so the Idaho Statesman, as most of you know, reach out to all 44 counties here in the state of Idaho as well as out of state. And so we've notified each and every one of these individuals on what has taken place. Now, again, you're worthy of your toil. Anything that you work for, you should be able to keep your money and pay whatever little bit of tax that you need to pay, what have you, if that's what needs to take place. Everybody should be equal before the law. Doesn't matter if you're a good person, a bad person, you know, whatever the case may be. The jury should be able to hear all of your exhibits and things of this nature. Okay? So, we need to be able to go back to, if you do not properly argue, you lose. Okay? And this is where we're at. The people don't know how to properly argue. Okay? So does the current government presume you're a corporation or a real live person? Okay? Did you know you have 2 birth certificates? You have a de jure constitutional as well as a de facto corporation birth certificate. One is your original birth certificate. Example, your name would be in upper and lower case. Your full corporate birth certificate would have your name in all uppercase, because remember, you're a corporation. So there's two birth certificates. Most people go, how can that be? Well, as we progress, you're going to notice that one works with law and one works with rule. Now, pursuant to law is constitutional base. Pursuant to rule is corporation and agency policy and rules. Now, under Idaho Code 1-2213, Section 1 there, it simply states that you as the individual should be able to determine your status when you go into a courtroom, either according to law, constitutional, or under the Administrative Procedure Act, pursuant to rule. So you should be able to go ahead and let them know. The problem is when you let the clerks know, the clerks don't know which door to open because they don't want to open it because the judges are dictating to them their job. And they don't have the guts or the backbone to stand up to these judges. And that's the truth of it. It doesn't mean that person's a bad person. Maybe he just went along with it because that's the way it's always been. You know, he doesn't know any better. But the truth of the matter is they have the authority to say, no, we're going to put this person into this constitutional courtroom, and if there's no injury to a person or to a party, and the people of the state of Idaho are not a party to the case, then this case is dismissed. Period. Okay? Now, this is where you know you have two birth certificates. Here's the paperwork from the Idaho Vital Statistics. Okay? It's not Melt Vital Statistics, it's Idaho. And so what's really important to know is when you look on the bottom left-hand side there, you're going to see two X's. There's going to be a red X and a blue X. And I know this is kind of difficult for us to see. We're kind of doing it a little slide dog in here today, but we're making it work, you know. But the red is the corporation full cap birth certificate. If you mark that one, they'll send you your corporate birth certificate. If you go down two lines, the blue one, if you check that one, they'll send you your real constitutional birth certificate with your name in upper and lower case. The difference is $5. So if you want your constitutional birth certificate, you have to pay $5 more. In other words, if you don't know, I think all of us are on a tight enough budget that, you know, $5 is a lot of money to me. You know, I'd rather, you know, just order the birth certificate because I don't know the difference. And that's what happens to most people. They order the wrong one. So this is where it lies. Under Idaho Code 39245, okay, it basically states that your all-cap birth certificate is recommended by the national agency in charge of vital statistics. That's the compact that brings in the vital statistics of the agency from the federal government. Remember, the conspirators, okay? Now the one on the bottom, 39249, is the one that states that they must keep the record, okay, accurate copy. In other words, your name is spelled in upper and lower case. Do you follow me? You have one that says you get the birth certificate of the all caps because the government, the federal government, recommends it. Doesn't say you have to have it. They just recommend it because they want to keep you in the dark. They don't want you to know the jurisdiction lies. Again, the second one there is the one in upper and lower case, your constitutional birth certificate. Now, how does the corporate name affect you? We have fees, we have fines, they make rules, they mandate you, they say your personal property is taxable. I remember earlier Lewis mentioning something about personal property tax, and we're going to go into that. It's very important for people to know. Administrative courts of this state, in other words, when you go to court, you don't get the constitutional protection that you ask or you think you have. Then you also come under what is referred to the interpretive rulings of the IDAPA and color of law. So even if the judge knows of the law but doesn't like you, he can go ahead and get rid of you. He can kick all them laws that you're using and you're done with. And so you don't have a full area to go ahead and defend yourself. Okay? That's another area. Here's all the taxation that goes on. There's a lot more, but I just want you to kind of look at that. And I'm going to touch base with what Lewis mentioned earlier in the program. Personal property tax is fraud, and this is why. Under Idaho Code Title 55-401, it basically states that your personal property is governed by the law of your domicile. And we're going to touch base on that. That's a new term that we've used, law of your domicile, okay? In other words, there's two forms of government, one that taxes and one that doesn't tax. But you're presumed to get taxed because of your corporate name, because you're presumed to live in that side of the jurisdiction, okay? Now, this is where it lies, and we're going to get into the heavy stuff here, and then we're going to move forward, because this is the most crucial part, the justice system, okay? I want you to look at that. The loyalty oath of allegiance to the corporate state, okay? Very important to understand, okay? The corporate judicial system of the state of Idaho. State of Idaho judicial districts, we have 7 of them here in Idaho. Okay, we have District 1, they include. We have District 2, they include. We have District 3, they include. District 4, they include. District 5, they include. District 6 is what your district's in, Banny County, District 6. As well as District 7, which includes. So we have 7 judicial districts, okay, that are all working in corporate capacity. So look at every county there. That's all corporate counties, okay? The problem is that they're not true constitutional counties in the justice system because of your all-cap name. This actually took place, and this is when it took place, 1934. This is where Congress went ahead and made a compact or an agreement with the states, okay, to be able to go ahead and throw anybody in jail for just the prevention of crime, okay? In other words, even though you didn't do something, they want to prevent you from doing it. It's thought police. It's the thought police of the democracy, okay? So here we have to take a look at this. How many of our cities really are true constitutional cities? Okay, Idaho Falls. Okay, the Idaho Falls Police Department, they even have it on their website. Faithful to the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay? It's very difficult to be faithful to the Constitution of the United States of America when your agency is no longer a part of the true government, which has that area of protection. Most of these jails and things of this nature are private enterprise, just as judges, just as lawyers, so forth and so on. Okay, here we go. If you look here, we got 1st Judicial District. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of point to it right here. Okay, all these areas, Judiciary Courts of the state of Idaho. Look at all their names. They're all in all caps. Okay, this basically says that every judicial court in the state of Idaho is a full corporation, just like McDonald's, telling you how and judging you and stripping you of your constitutional rights. Okay, that's every judicial court in the state of Idaho. So all 7 districts, there's not one court that's actually operating according to constitutional principles. Okay, now, as we move forward, this is where it gets very important. And I'm going to just kind of touch base on time here. How are we looking on time, guys? We doing still pretty good?
3:30.
That's what I thought. Just want to make sure. We'll probably open this up for some discussion here in a little bit after we get through this segment. And then we'll go back to another area, okay? Here's the official oath of the Supreme Court Justice, okay?